Happy Apple Oak Day! Welcome to the party. It's just getting started and I'm glad to see you here. Today we celebrate the restoration of the British monarchy under King Charles II after over a decade of Republican tyranny. I've seen a lot of ignorant royal phobes online who feel vehemently opposed to monarchy. There is no place for royal phobia in the current year, of course, so I've taken to debunking their most common arguments. And goodness, these arguments certainly are common.
The monarchy costs the taxpayer billions a year. We could use that money to feed homeless people, think of the poor homeless, and fix literally every problem ever.
This is completely delusional. The monarchy doesn't even cost a quarter of what it earns for the United Kingdom yearly. All of this is paid for by the United Kingdom. The Commonwealth realms aren't being taxed this. Additionally, the monarchy's running costs pale in comparison to other things tax money is given to, such as illegal alien accommodation and foreign aid.
Monarchy is institutionalized inequality. We need equality, therefore we need no monarchy.
This argument has some glaring flaws that most won't pick up on immediately. First, it assumes that inequality is unnatural. People are born unequal, not just via wealth but through genetics. One person will be born physically and mentally incapable of doing things that a different person will. Everyone, no matter what, will always be different and thus unequal. Even if you enslave all of humanity to some communist AI, there would still be the inequality between the humans and your robots. The only true equality would be in the total extermination of humanity. The more you try to equalize the people, the worse their lives will be. I'd rather live in the United Kingdom than the Soviet Union, where all your work is done for the government and you are ultimately just a pawn of the state. Of course, they will wrap this up in the romantic, utopian language of the workers of the world uniting, but the reality is that politicians just want to micromanage every aspect of your life and make sure you don't get any naughty thoughts. Ultimately, egalitarianism is dehumanizing. It reduces people into collectives based on what they and their family owns. It degrades society in stagnation. Who here wants to be a 24/7 labourer with no property, no rights, no nation, and no familial connections? Inequality is not wrong. Equality is wrong.
Power corrupts. Just look at the Stanford prison experiment, where a bunch of normal people turned into abusive psychopaths just by being given power over others.
In reality, power doesn't corrupt at all, it merely attracts the corrupt. The Stanford prison experiment recruited participants via advertisements that specified what the experiment would entail. Everyone who applied was scored with higher amounts of aggressiveness, authoritarianism, Machiavellianism, narcissism, and social dominance than normal people. They only signed up because they were being given an opportunity to have power over others. Politicians will naturally be evil, and unlike the common man, because only someone like that will want to be a politician and have the determination to succeed in politics. Contrast this with training a mentally normal person from birth for a job, which sounds better to you. A common man is raised to value only his own interests. He remains with this philosophy throughout his life. A highborn man is raised to value civilization, culture, and the good of the masses.
What if the monarch ends up evil? You can't vote them out like you could with a politician.
You see, democracy isn't an immutable cosmic law that every politician is forced to abide by. Once someone is in power, they aren't forced to care about your precious democratic values at all. Even if an evil politician allows you to vote to keep up the charade, they can use mass psyop campaigns to ensure they win, or they can rig elections via other means. Good luck to the Russian people in voting Vladimir Putin out. A politician who wants to abuse power already has the power to ensure they won't lose it.
Rewards of leader bad.
Isn't a valid argument because it applies to literally any system you can come up with. Utopian politics is a delusion happily spread by power-hungry tyrants in waiting who know how to play to emotions. You'll never have a perfect system, but you can have the best system if you're willing to fight for it.
Monarchy is outdated. Current year. You want to drag us back to the Dark Ages.
Breathing is quite old. Please stop breathing. Also, no legitimate historians call it the Dark Ages anymore. They called it that due to the lack of contemporary historical sources for the rather long period. The record goes dark. But because you hear dark and immediately get freaked out, they now call it the Middle Ages.
Government should be by the people, not rich elites.
Sorry I have to be the one to break this to you. There is no way to have government by the people. The people inherently cannot rule. Rulership is exclusive to the ruling elite, whether they be royals, politicians and pressure groups, theocrats or even machines. Democracy is no less elitist. The main difference is that under democracy, the people will be blamed for their government. Nations will justify the bombing of civilians because those civilians didn't find someone else to vote for. Even in less extreme scenarios, you, and I do mean you, will be forced to feel responsible for men in suits who live in their little urban bubble. These men will never question and refine themselves. They are representatives of the people, after all.
The crown jewels are made of stolen gems, stolen from Africa, stolen from India, stolen.
How do you steal from a place you own? Do you steal bread from your toaster?
What about our democracy? Monarchy is not our democracy.
You are using the modern, Americanized definition of democracy. Democracy originally meant any government that puts the people first, not a form of government where the party who spent the most money on advertising their popularity contests gets to send taxpayers' money to foreigners for the next 5 years until they are ousted by a nigh identical party. Originally, an elected government could be undemocratic simply by not doing what they were elected for. An unelected government could be democratic by doing what was best for the people. My other points explain why a monarch is far more likely to be classically democratic than a politician. Of course, what proponents of Pax Americana mean when they say democracy is terrible. Being undemocratic in the modern sense is a very good thing. In absolute monarchy, one man must be wise. Under democracy, the majority of people must be wise. Which is more likely?
The royal family tree is a ladder. They marry their sisters.
Show me one example. Go ahead, you can do it, right? Claims without evidence can be dismissed without evidence. Royalty equals racism. If so, I have to wonder who this racism is directed toward, given that black Commonwealth countries are more likely to rally behind the monarchy on average than white Commonwealth countries. It's also guaranteed that the royal family aren't Anglophobic, which is the second most evil bigotry behind only royalphobia. Anti-Semitism is the third worst, by the way.
The royal family are keeping things from us. They killed Princess Di. They have secret plans.
You'll see strange tales about the royal family like this a lot. It's a sign that the person you're speaking to has no legitimate reason to dislike the people they hate. They're simply an ugly, deformed freak lashing out at their superiors due to spiteful jealousy.
Oh, Liquor, the monarchy is oppressive.
Any system of government can be oppressive. Monarchy is simply the one least likely to be oppressive. A tyrant in a democracy is most preoccupied by the majority opinion. It's in his best interest to meddle in your life endlessly and attempt to brainwash you, especially if an election is imminent. Monarchy is undistracted by the destructive lie of equality, which via state meddling forces everyone to be equally miserable for the sake of the smallest minorities. If a sovereign's property rights are taken away, there's no reason yours won't be too. These were some unfortunately common arguments I have seen online regarding monarchy. I obviously haven't covered everything in depth, but if you enjoyed and want to see more like this, then show your support with a like, comment, or even subscription. Don't forget to donate if you want to be a cavalier and fight the good fight along with me. If you're particularly generous, that is. Hail Windsor. Honestly, I think the soy jacks I put over this image is actually more flattering than what the people actually look like. I mean, look at them. What? Wow. These guys consider themselves epic revolutionaries, by the way. I want everyone to know that.